Fellas, everyone, welcome to week 2 of Rise Up podcast. I'm Dan Seibel. I'm here with two of your favorites, Greg Grenlian and Scotty Rodgers. Boys, welcome to week 2. How we doing?
Feeling a lot better after week 1, baby. That was mild. That sure went off.
It did go off. We're back.
Week 1 was a blast. 2 great interviews. Hit the ground rolling. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like I got my legs under me.
Yeah, we got it. We got that chemistry's building week by week. I think we had it automatically, but this week I'm really excited. Great friend of Greg and ours, Greg and mine, Trevor Baptiste. Love him. Big personality in the sport. Better player, better person. And we're excited to get him on there and chop it up with him a little bit.
Yeah, I think we got real lucky last week, man. Asher and Joey Keegs coming on, kicking things off. And then, Trevor, I can't wait to have that discussion with Trev. So, yeah, let's get after it here on week 2, man.
Yeah, we got a loaded episode this week. We're going to touch on All-Star Weekend. We're going to talk about the Sixes, and we're going to talk about the Women's Championship Series that just went down in Baltimore. We're going to kick it off with the All-Star Weekend recap. Team Baptiste took down Team Farrell 33-13. Looks more like a football score. But yeah, what'd you guys see out there? What'd you guys like about it? I know you guys have some experience in All-Star games. How they compare to maybe your experiences. What'd you see that you liked, what you didn't like?
I'll tell you right off the rip. I know you got a face-off guy and a goal tender, as we all know. And those are not fun when you're doing those. Because guess what? He wants rest because he's at his halfway point of his season. And that is another wrestling match he doesn't need. But also a goalie is not getting the defense that we want or love. So therefore, step downs, polls, I tell you, every poll that makes an All-Star game is now a midfielder. All right? They're now a midfielder. They're also a 2-point goal leader in the league, apparently. So when they come in, they're popping it. Over to 50, it's live. Over to 50, it's live action. So as a goalie, you think you're chilling. I got KB at the house right now. KB's like, he's wearing a GoPro. He's getting content for the league. It's All-Star Weekend. It's a tough environment for any goalie, but it's fun. And you get to be with the guys on the other teams, and you get to hang it out, chop it up, and not see just the competitive side. You get to actually see, that guy's actually a good dude. Some of those relationships I've made are from All-Star games where I was like, I hate that guy. You know what? I don't hate that guy. He's actually really cool. I had a couple gin and tonics with the guy. He's actually a really nice guy. So
which guy? Which guy are you talking about?
Yeah, nah. Things were good. Things are good after the All-Star game. Fun loving, but you got to find a way to turn the switch. Greg knows you got to turn that switch. It's very short-lived, and they're going right into, turn the switch on. So,
yeah, I did a bunch of All-Star games, and they're bittersweet because you're honored to be there, and it's a good time. But you do also want to be like, man, like everybody else is laughing and high-fiving, but I still got to take 40 freaking face-offs. And I also learned a really cool thing this weekend that lacrosse Twitter watches every minute of the All-Star game and has a lot of opinions, which are pretty cool. Lacrosse Instagram is filled with a bunch of tweens who have never watched a second of the All-Star game, and when they see the reactionary score, it's okay, and that's exactly what it sounds like in my head. They're like, oh, that's a football score. There was no defense. Yeah, there's also like a 10-yard 2-point line. And Trevor's team was just smoking 10-yard 2-pointers the entire game.
He probably had. I think he had. If I had to face that lineup, I got to be honest, man. He drafted range because the range that team. Danny Logan could shoot the ball 200 miles an hour. So it's like those guys. They had options everywhere. They also had Newman coming over. Once Newman steps over, he's probably going to start pulling up. Cade Van Rotworst, I played with him. Cade could bring it. All those guys did exactly what I thought they would do. They got the ball, they shot the ball. But like you said, I think it's bittersweet. But I also watched Connor Farrell actually have a workout, and he actually took every face off. And I give him. That guy had to be so tired after that.
Yo, my highlight of the All-Star experience was Connor Farrell in a full movie level Thor costume.
Yeah.
And he ran anybody who didn't watch it, go on ESPN and watch it. It's hilarious. He runs at the goal in the trick shot competition, shoots it underhand while chugging a gallon of milk. And then after he scores, he just poured the whole thing on his face. And I mean, that was phenomenal television. Phenomenal television.
It looked like an SNL skit.
Yeah. And you
I
have
mean,
to be like
I watched
genuine.
his String King commercial the other day, and I know Gibby's had me out there doing the bad grandpa Santa Claus. I knew Connor was going to get the same kind of script. He made it. He was funny, man.
Connor is such a good ambassador for our sport, man. Yeah. He's just a big, fun-loving dude, and we'll talk about him a little bit later, but like he gets it. Like he's still new to the sport, to the position, and he's having a great time, and he's super talented, and that was a highlight for me. But yeah, the game itself with taking the 2-point line out. I remember in 2019 they were like, "We're going to do a puck drop face-off. We're not going to actually do real face-offs," and then the microphone goes, "Greg, what do you think of that?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's dumb, but I'm glad I get a quarter off. I'm glad I get to take a quarter off. Who cares?"
I know Scotty's like, can the goalies get some tennis balls in one quarter or something?
We get a couple guys that don't usually play goalie. Why don't you step in for the game?
How about you got to use a beach ball?
Right?
The offense has to use a beach ball.
Just jump in. No, I want other guys to come in for the game. That's my next year. I want guys that don't play goalie. I'll give them my hockey steel cup. I'll give them my chest card, and you can step in there. Tell me how it goes.
Yo,
have fun.
How about this? One quarter, you have to use a box net. You have to shoot on a box net.
Yeah.
But if you score, it's 5 points.
Yeah. Well, you shoot. You know what you're shooting. You're shooting at my baby calves. You're shooting right for the wickets.
The box net's just more chances of getting hit by the ball.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I really have never escaped that feeling, so that's going to be with me. That's my style.
Scotty? What was your highlight of the All-Star game?
Dude, I love Trevor, man. Trevor is the coach.
Yeah. Trevor's going to be a GM one day, dude.
Dude, listen, man. That's a guy that you can see actually doing it. Like the way the way he greets his players and celebrates. I obviously it sucked not seeing him play.
Yeah,
it has to come first with how competitive
I feel like we got robbed. Yeah, we did get robbed, but yeah. I mean, he's got to be healthy. He's on track for a special season. So, but yeah, I think it was great, and I like that PLL gave the fans. So people wonder why the 2-point line. They gave the fans votes to try to come up with rules. I think that's brilliant. It's interactive. It's really cool.
What was your highlight of the game, Greg?
Oh, my highlight of the weekend was Thor milk chugging. I mean, that's you give me Thor milk chugging in pretty much any situation. I'm all about that.
What I love to see is players out there. Pushing the boundaries of their creativity because it's no pressure situations, but they come up with some really cool plays. Marcus Holman was the MVP of the All-Star game. That play he had, you see, someone try it like once every 5 years. The wind up for the shot, throw the behind the back pass, and follow through. That is just so slick. I
haven't seen it done that well since Brian Langtree.
Exactly.
And if you're mentioned in the same vein as Brian Langtree, then you're doing it. On the field, then you're doing it right.
Listen, we've talked about Manny week 1. You got to talk about Marcus, man. I love Marcus, man. I think he is one of the better pros in our game. The way he prepares, and I know he was going into that game, and he's been this way. He's been this way forever. He's not going to come in there and just joke around. He's gonna go in and try to touch it up. And if they're not going to play him, Danny? You know this best. Shoot or shoot. Shoot or shoot. If you ain't gonna go approach that ball, he's pulling up. So I think Marcus, just like on brand, man. He came in. He shot the lights out. He had fun doing it. He's got his little edge to him. I'm telling you, man, I love watching those two as a vet. I love watching those two guys, man. This year, watching how they're playing and how much freaking tenacity they have is impressive because they're in their 30s, all right? And those guys are coming out and they're freaking throwing. And listen, Greg and I played long. I was 34 when I got out. It's hard. It's hard to turn it on, and in an All-Star game, especially, you want to be like, dude, this is a day off. This is a day off. It should be, but he put on a show, and that's something to be said there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Greg, you touched on this earlier. The other vein of the weekend, was the skills competition. We had Jaron Newman winning the fastest shot, reclaiming his throne. Beat my boy Jake Fricaro, who had the record last year. Marcus won the accuracy contest. No surprise there. Mikey Sowers won the freestyle challenge. Jack
Sprint.
Rowlett, fastest player,
I
and the
did
goalie
not know.
competition was Kyle
that was a
Burnley.
surprise. That was
Yo, Jack Rowlett.
Jack
If
Rowlett
you're
booked it,
listening to
dude.
this, I had no idea you had wheels like that, dog.
No, you can run.
That dude,
I mean, because I'll tell you right
no
now,
idea he was
Costabile,
like
we used to
that.
call Costabile the horse. And that dude, he beat the horse. He beat the horse.
Now, let's be fair to CJ. Let's be fair to CJ, though. CJ's what, 36?
What'd you say?
35? I said, let's be fair to CJ, though. What is he, 35, 36?
CJ's my age, right? It's 35. Yeah. I mean, I know CJ well. All right. Can we not talk about it right now?
We're gonna bring him up every episode.
Every episode.
Look, I don't even think about that when I bring up CJ.
I
You're the one who reminds me.
Good.
Okay.
But yeah, so about the skills competition, what do we think about that? I know that I think the fastest shot's cool. It's cool seeing the goalies step in there and just see rubber and who can turn the most away. Something about the freestyle challenge, it feels like they want it to be a dunk competition, but it turns out to just be a little anticlimactic. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's that way in the dunk contest too sometimes. I think you hype that thing up like it's going to be – it's hard. First of all, it's hard to be – if you could plan a move, it might not go as scripted. And lacrosse is one of the best games if it's unscripted. It's one of the best freestyle games you can have. But I think our game's freestyle sometimes where some of those plays in the games that they make, like Holman Selly after, I think it was last week when they played, when he did his little Selly, 1, 2, right? That's off the cuff, right? And that's creative on its own. So to have a guy put pressure on him, do something, do some cool shit. You're like, oh, right? Do some cool shit, man. Dance for me.
Do some cool shit.
You're like, I do cool shit all the
Dance
time.
for me, clown. Well, I agree with you, Sibes. I think it's always felt forced. And I think, the dunk contest is a different animal because I think we've gotten to the point with the dunk contest that it's what else can a human do? We just got to wait for the next step of evolution before we see cooler stuff.
Michael Jordan's doing it right. So that's what? Oh, you're going to beat MJ? Okay.
Yeah. And look, I mean, it really is just a vertical contest at that point. But I feel like what I would like to see is kind of on the same line of the accuracy competition with the four corners. I'd love to see something similar to the QB challenge where they have targets, bigger targets down the field in different areas. Some moving targets, real far. I think that would be pretty sick, but it would probably be a massive pain in the ass to put together, I guess. But I think something like that would be cool. I get what they're trying to do with the freestyle, and if they can figure it out, great. I agree with you. It's always because then you got to pull out the costumes. It's not. I don't know.
But
I feel like it's.
But I'll give you this. Our demographic for our game is the kids right now. Obviously, we're trying to grow that, right, with stuff we do, we do that PLL does a great job.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, there's going to be 8 to 12-year-olds there. And 8 to 12-year-olds love that, dude. I'm telling you, they see the Thor costume, kind of throwing a gallon of milk down. Those kids are there to have fun. It's a fun thing.
Yep.
And
that's a good point.
I get it, and I do get it. Like I said, if it's on TV at a bar, am I going, hey, let's watch the freestyle competition? Probably not, right? But the kids love it. And that's honestly what we want. We want the youth to kind of grow through this game and take off and want to be pros. That's important, I think. That's my little.
That's a great point. I think something that I'd love to see is grab Dylan Ward, get him his box gear, get a 4x4, and have these field offensive players go down on one-on-ones on the box cage, see if they can bury.
Yeah, I agree. I think my what I would love to see, honestly, is a goalie wars. I think a goalie wars would be absolutely electric.
You'd be hard pressed.
You put them
what about a
10 to 15 yards. Dude, put them 15 yards away from each other.
You ain't signing Scanoni up to go do that.
We didn't. I guarantee you, we can find 2 goalies that would do it.
I'll give you 2. Gittleman. You'll have Gitz, and you'll probably have. I put Blaze. Blaze got the best handles of all the goalies.
I guarantee Blaze would do it. Trout would do it.
Yeah. I think they'll
do it. Burlow would do it. If Burlow played an All-Star game where they have a 9-yard 2-point line, he would do it. And I'd put my money on him too.
I think it's a fine line though, right? Do you want that game to be like the NFL is always trying to motivate those guys, right? They're trying to motivate them to go because a lot of just like our game, you saw the scratch list. the scratch list for the game, a lot of guys pulled out to get a rest. And guess what? Whether it's well needed or not, it doesn't matter. That's how it is. So how do you incentivize in any All-Star game? How do you incentivize these guys to be like, yo, let's go play? Now, yes, it's a what's up?
Is it $1,000 for the team who wins or something?
Each player?
What did Marcus get for MVP?
He probably got definitely more than 1,000.
I don't know what the numbers are.
But no, there's an incentive. You know what I mean, though. I'm saying
you incentive them with
cash. You're playing long game in that thing. Lyle Thompson was like this. I'm going to take the week off because you know what?
I think a good point though is all these kind of older guys who've been there, said, all right, well, I'm going to rest up, and allowed younger guys to get that experience and seeing how cool it is to be there.
Sure.
So it would be nice to get guys like Lyle there, but Lyle, was scratched, so our boy Asher got to go, be an all-star in his rookie year. That's really cool.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that count as an all-star selection if you get pulled up as a?
He's got the jersey.
Hey man, he's got the jersey in the photo. I'm counting it.
Wait, my question for you guys is: do you think? I don't know. In other pro All-Star games, are there players for the skill competitions that didn't make All-Star voting that are there for that skill set?
That's a great question. I think there have been people in the 3-point contest who are.
So, like, the NBA does a rookie game. They used to do a rookie game. That would be tight, right? That would be pretty cool to see a bunch of our rookies in our league.
Rookies versus sophomores?
Sophomores versus rooks. I think we get paid.
You're on to something.
We get paid first, right? And then we can talk about it. But Paul, you're welcome. All right, but that's something I would watch because guess what? I want to know, dude. I love seeing like the Logan Wisnauskas versus Pete. Those are two of the top dogs from a year apart. Let's see them go. And I listen. There's always creativity. I think that's ever changing. They did the rules this year. I think that will change. I think naturally that.
I'll tell you what, man. If you're a viewer watching this on YouTube, I'd love to see in the comments your ideas of what you guys think would be a cool addition to the All-Star game and what you think they should get rid of, if anything. I'd love to see that. And then if we come up with some good ideas, we can kind of talk about it next week.
Absolutely, yeah. We can see if anyone comes up with any better ideas than Scotty because I think he's on to something. But do you have any last thoughts on the All-Star Weekend? I think as a whole, give it 2 thumbs up. I think they did a good job. It was a great production. But what do you guys think closing in on it?
I think, like Greg said, we both see it as vets, which is as you get older. I like it for the young guys to experience it. Most of those guys probably haven't played at Gillette Stadium. That's a cool experience just to play. That's a freaking legendary stadium. And guess what? You get a different fan base. And I thought I thought it did exactly what it was a rest. It was a rest from the serious, because every week we're going into this thing. These guys are playing like it's a playoff game. You can kind of tell, like it's really intense. And the race is pretty tight. So who gets those spots for the playoffs? It's nice to shut your brain off as a pro and not think, oh shit, we got to get a dub. So I don't think the score. Like Greg said, I hate those guys that do that, like the score Nazis. Listen, they're playing to have fun. They deserve it. You got voted.
Dude, if you haven't watched the game, then if you haven't watched the game, like you're exposing yourself on Instagram when you make comments like that. We're like, okay, so you're not a real fan,
right?
But also, I guess maybe this is some of the old head in me. Is if you aren't going to play, you were selected. If you're not going to play, I still think you should show up. Because All-Star Weekend should be the All-Stars. And when kids and adults sign up for this and they show up, they want to see the All-Stars. Because one day you're not going to be in this game. One day you're not going to be playing anymore. You're going to wish you soaked up every last second of it, for sure. And, unless you have like a serious injury or something. But here's the other thing, too, is – dude, you're only playing 10 regular season games. And these games are like 90 minutes long, let's be honest. I mean, the MLL games used to be like 48 hours long, and we played like 16 of them. So, like, these are in and out weekends. The PLL has done a phenomenal job of being like a players' league in that sense. If you get selected, your ass should be there. Like,
I agree. No, listen, man. I think as a professional and ambassador, I think our responsibility as ambassadors first. And it has to be that way until should always be that way. But right now, especially when you get the spotlight we have, and kind of that up and coming roots, it's really important that we have the stars step up. So, I don't know what the reasons are for some of these guys, but at the end of the day, you got to bid, you got to vote. You go, you sign the autograph for the kid that's wearing your jersey, and it's a wrap.
Yeah. Plus, all the trainers are there
Right.
anyway.
All the trainers. Yeah.
If you're going to get your rehab, you better
That's
go
right.
there.
You said it best. You said it best. This weekend is for the kids. It's for the people who are going to be, taking the future of lacrosse to the next step. The kids want to see, the best of the best. But, coming on next, we have one of the captains from All-Star Weekend, Trevor Baptiste. He's a national champion. He's a gold medalist, 4-time All-American first team. He kicked my ass in college for 4 years. I was watching him down from the attack line as he won every single face-off and scored a couple goals. But we're really happy to have Trevor on the podcast. Welcome to the podcast, Trevor Baptiste.
Trev,
welcome to the podcast, brother. It's great to see you. Great to have you on the second episode of Rise Up. Welcome.
Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys having me on this too. I'm excited. I've been seeing all these posts, these animated images of Scott and Greg with the music. I'm like, I gotta see what this thing's all about.
They look good, right?
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. It's awesome.
No, Trev, I was saying I'm so pumped to have you on, man. You're one of my great friends and teammates. You and Greg have a working relationship and your friends. It's one of our. We were really excited to get you on here. So
yeah, no, I'm pumped.
Get into it a little bit.
Pumped, man.
Scotty and I are a little worried though. Now we're outnumbered. We got 2 face-off guys.
Yeah.
Hands up.
Yeah, I mean,
This talk could go deep really quick, where I wouldn't know what we're talking about.
it really could. It really could. I'm gonna let you guys. I'm just gonna follow suit. Whatever you guys want to talk about, I'll be there.
Well, I think the first thing that I'm interested in, Trev, is obviously a lot of people were disappointed they couldn't watch you in the All-Star game this past weekend, but I've obviously eye-catching numbers so far this year. What's helping you kind of get that groove again, get that groove back? Because it looks like you're having fun again.
Yeah, man. I think like kind of going into this year, in the past couple of years, I felt like I kind of lost the love for the game, if I could even say that, or really like I didn't love it as much for a lot of different reasons. I felt like there was a lot of like outside pressures coming in, and I felt like there was all this talk of what I should be doing and things like that, and obviously kind of was battling a couple of injuries, tore my labrum in 2020, and it was just tough. But this year, I just kind of came in and I was like, I don't really care what anyone thinks, and I'm just gonna have fun and be myself. And it's crazy how much that translates to your play. Like when you're really enjoying yourself out there. I think also being on a great team, like with great guys, has helped a ton too. Like I just enjoy being with them every weekend. Not saying that wasn't the case before, but I think they helped. I think they really helped me out of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, Trev, I was thinking about it. I'm always, like I said, you're one of my close friends in the game. Fun, kind of like me, similar off the field and stuff. So
yeah, yeah.
Just like thinking about how much pressure I felt like when we played together. We had a lot of pressure on that team.
Definitely.
And I felt like it was from the top to the bottom. You were the upcoming star. You were, and then we had, Paulie, Hart's, me, and we had a lot of personalities on that team, bro. And Robbie P. I mean, I just felt like there was a lot of pressure on you to get the ball because Trev's going to win. Trev's the best. Trev's going to get the ball. We're going to get the ball. It's like every time that's like a lot. Because as a goalie, I know just expecting a save in that league is like, that's an unfair ask.
Right.
That's an unfair. It's an unfair ask to be like, hey, you got to make this save. We get the ball back. We get a 2-bomb. I don't know it's like a 50-50 coin flip. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Man. So I kind of see you kind of vibing a little bit. I see you. You look comfortable, man. You look great. You physically, you look honestly the best I've seen you. Whatever you're doing. If you're eating that lettuce and that tofu stuff, you look great.
Yeah, no,
I
appreciate that, man. No, actually, speaking physically, like I actually started seeing this guy, Scott Lenz. He owns this company called Inner Image, and he does body scans. And he kind of breaks down like your whole body comp and then kind of gives you a plan and what would work best for you. Greg, I think Jerry took a bunch of his kids to that, which, like, honestly, man, like, I mean, I have a great trainer out here in Pat Nolan at Pivotal Sports Performance, and PTs with Nate, Physio Pro, but Scott, like, adding him to the mix too. Like, I think nutrition has always been something that I don't know if I necessarily say struggle with, but just wasn't really educated in, you know? And he just really changed my whole outlook on so many different things. And you can I can really feel the difference, which has been great.
Yeah, and you can see it too, man. I told you we were out in Vegas.
Yeah,
we were at camp, and I'm like watching Trevor teach the kids. I'm like, this dude looks brolic right
now. I grabbed this trap in Baltimore. I was like, was it a ham steak?
Yeah. You know what? You know what? I've always said this about professional lacrosse, especially, is you learn everything you need to know about a player and how he carries himself as a pro after his first year. And, you know, you have continued to evolve as an athlete, which means you put in the time. And that says a lot. And I think you and I over the years have, you know, it went from coach and player to friends and colleagues. And now, like, I think we have a bond because we know what it's like when you're the guy 100%. And everybody's just trying to knock you down all the time. And you have to show up and be the guy. And we talked a little bit, Scott and I, about it when we were getting ready for this podcast. You know, the idea came up about, like, who's the greatest college face-off, you know, guy of all time. And I was like, I'm just so sick of that argument. I was like, there's one guy. And, you know, I'm not, you know, obviously you know me very well. I'm not blowing smoke, but there's only one guy in the history of lacrosse in Division I who was 50% or better in every single one of his career games. 4-time first-team All-American, national champion, 2-time Twarton finalist. There's only one guy who has that resume. So don't tell me any more about who the best college faceoff guy is. And the reason I say that is because now you go into the pros, and just like Scotty says, it's expected. If you don't go 70%, it's like, what's wrong with Trevor? It's like, he's going against the other 8 best guys in the world, and today he was not 70%. I don't know what, you know, is the big deal. But like I said, like you had touched on not loving the game as much. That happens, man. With that outside pressure, you do face-off clinics and all this stuff, and everybody's pointing fingers. How did you redefine yourself this year and start to find that love? Is it just because you feel healthy, or are there other factors in there?
Yeah, no, I think, like, health was definitely a big thing. And, like, funny, like 2020, I had a torn labrum. I, like, didn't even know it was torn. I just was like, oh, I'm gonna keep playing. I gotta keep playing. Like, we're in the bubble. I can't leave. I'm gonna get COVID. You know, like, so, you know, I'm hurt. I think I finished the season like 56%. People are like, yo, Trevor sucks now. I'm like, yo, I won more than I lost, bro. Like, what are you talking? You know what I'm saying? But, you know, that's just funny. But no, I think, like, health is definitely a big thing. I also just got back to basics and just got back to, like, enjoying playing. And I'd go out and play, like, 3-by, and then, like, it wasn't about, like, winning face-offs or even, like, scoring goals or, you know, messing up or not messing up. It was just having the stick in my hand, playing with my friends and doing it, you know, it just having fun. And that was really what got to it. And then also, like, I just kind of just stopped caring what anybody else had to say that didn't earn my respect, you know? So, you know, someone like, you know, like both you guys, like, right? Like you guys my friends, you guys earn my respect. If you guys told me something, I know it's coming from a good place. I know it's coming from a place of, like, you caring for me, you know, and vice versa. And same with my teammates and coaches. Like, if it was just some random dude, like, saying something, it's like, I don't owe you anything. You don't owe me anything. And you might not even know what you're talking about, you know? So why do I even, like, it's just not even, and sometimes it can be positive too. Like, I'm so appreciative of all the positive, you know, hype or whatever, but it's just like, you know, like, if you don't really have my trust and respect, then it really doesn't matter what you think about me, you know? It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, would totally agree with that. And I think that's, like, an important lesson that any professional athlete, once you truly understand and believe that, like, you're unstoppable then, because then you can go to sleep at night without having to worry about those voices. You know, the internet doesn't affect you anymore. It's just you and the ball. And that's dangerous for other people when a top tier athlete comes to that realization, which is huge.
Yeah, like I was thinking about it, and I was thinking like how I was reflecting on my own career, right? Like that's the one thing that is, if there's a weakness in it, glaring. I'm like Kevin Durant of PLL. I got a 10-year-old chirping me. I'm gonna shoot back.
Yeah.
I can't say I can't. And that's one of my biggest weaknesses and flaws is I was always like that. I lost joy a few times in the game, just like you talked about. I kind of hit home. Like I've lost that joy once in a while because I'm so stressed about like what these people think. And I'm like, but no one's doing our job at that level. Mm-hmm. It's so hard to do that job. Greg did it at a high level. I've had spurts in my career where I was an all-star, and then I've been a backup. And those years when I was like not playing well, it was because of that kind of stuff. There was no joy in what I was doing. Right? I was like, I'm going to work. I'm worried about how many goals I'm going to give up this week. Yeah. And it's like, that's not how you could go into this game and be successful. Like Greg said, when you have peace of mind, towards the end there, I started getting a little clarity of like, I could just like calm myself down. I'm going to perform at a high level. And I think that's, dude, watching you, like you're always a fun loving guy, but like kind of seeing, I think there's always a pressure. Like Paul's on the roster. Paul's the owner of the league. He's my best friend, dude. But guess what? Playing with him sometimes, there's some pressure in that. There's pressure in its own there, right?
Yeah. Everybody in the league wanted to beat you guys in 2019.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah.
You guys showed up at training camp. You got the box out there. You're dancing in the middle of training camp. And we're all sitting there like, these guys really think they're just going to run all over us, aren't they?
Wait. We all know how that ended up. Okay? Yeah. Let's not get into it. But I just think the team he's got now, and like I said, obviously, whatever happened in my career, whatever. But the fact is, Rubes did a great job building that team the way he wanted it. He built it. He got rid of some personalities that maybe weren't what he wanted, and that's a business decision. I'm unbiased there. I get business. So watching you kind of be the leader now, you and Tucker, has been like pretty awesome to watch considering where we came from, right? Like how we started. I was a leader. Paulie's a leader. You got these old heads in the locker room, and it's like, it looks like there's juice. It just looks like a different juice in there. You got some young guys, and when you're running the show, Trev, it looks like these guys are playing like you a little bit. They're playing a little more free, right? They're playing a little fun, celebrating. Yeah. And I know that wasn't the case a couple of years ago because I know how much stress we felt in that locker room at times.
Well, it's interesting to see how quickly life changes, and now watching you as a more vocal leader, like. How is that different for you? Because it used to be like Trev was the new young dude who just won everybody face-offs and smiled. Now it's like, you're expected to be a leader. So how has that transition been for you? Because it looks like it's paying off for the team.
Yeah, no, I think it's been good. I think there's definitely parts of it that I'm still learning, and like parts of it that, like, I think I'm very much a person that is, I'm trying to think of the right way to say it, but I guess I don't want to come across as somebody that has all the answers or like is do this and this is what we need to do, so sometimes like I'm always catching myself like be like, oh, maybe I should say something, maybe I shouldn't say something, and like kind of overthinking it a little bit. And I feel like if there's anything that's changed over that is just being like, always having everybody's back and showing that, I'm right with you. Like, we're all doing this together, working as hard as we can for a common goal that we all want to face, right? And, like, nobody wants it more than the other guy. Unless that's true, then it's like you guys have to get up to our level, not us dialing back to your level, Yeah. And,
I like that.
Like, we want you all here. We want you all to enjoy yourself here. And this is how it's going to – this is, like, the culture we built, And if you don't really vibe with that culture – you're just not going to have enough fun. You're just not going to have fun. And fun is like a big piece of it. So, like, even if it is working hard or being challenged, if as long as we're doing it together, there is like that undertone of fun. Like it should be fun working hard.
Dude, but even what you said, coming from an off season that you had, coming from the indoor season, guys see what you're doing. You know what I mean? So guys are watching you grind and be a full-time professional, these young guys. That just like you watched us, like Greg and I.
Right.
Like these guys are running camps like me. They're doing this. And then when you see the guy that's running the show put his body first, come in sick shape, right? Come in with a focus, come in with a new juice. When you come to camp, I'm telling you right now, those guys saw that. And those guys saw that, and they're like, all right, well, we got to pick it up. So guys that weren't in the offseason doing what they were supposed to do probably knew right away. Trev came back in great shape. That's our guy. I'm going to get my ass in the gym. Like, those little things are culture. That's all culture, I think. In my head, I wrap those all into one bubble of culture on the team. And it's not what you say, it's what you do, right?
Definitely.
And I think you don't listen. You're fun and loud, but you're not gonna you're not a guy that's like telling guys how to live their life.
Right.
So I think that's a really good way to lead. I think you guys have something really special. We've been talking about the Atlas in some way that the juice is there. But moving off of that, how do you feel competition wise in that league right now? How do you feel? Who do you think's like a rival for you? Like, I know I used to circle a matchup against like Drew Adams. I'm sure Greg used to circle a matchup against Anthony Kelly, right? Yeah. And who's your guy? Like right now that you see and you go, that's a game.
No, I think, man, like, to tell you the truth, and I'm going to answer your question, but I want to start out with, dude, everyone's so good. Every faceoff guy is so good in the PLL that it's so, every game, you can't come in unprepared. Can't do it. Because if you do, you're going to get exposed, So you got to respect everyone. I have such respect for all the faceoff guys in the league. And I think faceoffs especially is a position that there's a lot of mutual respect amongst the position. Like, guys are going to go as hard as they can. They're going to try to beat each other up on the field. But, I think we all respect what we're doing out here. But to answer your question, I would say Nards, TD, and Farrell are probably the guys that you just know there's going to be a lot of focus on the face-off when you go against them. Like I said, every game I'm just kind of trying to circle. Like, I'm not really overlooking.
Trev, all three of those guys are so different, right? Like,
so different.
Like watching Farrell, I'm like, you come out of there, you might as well wrestle a grizzly bear.
Right.
I mean, it's a physical. It's got to be tough on the body, right? And then you go against like a Nards, he's got a jack of all trades kind of thing going on. Yeah. And then TD's a young guy, dude. He's a talented kid. Yeah. Like, that's a guy that's, so you got all your skill sets got to be that is different, right? Like, you have to prepare for three different styles, right? When you go against those guys.
That's right. And like, Trevor, know what you're going into,
Sorry, but off of that, so I think a lot of people look at it like, I've played against you in college for 4 years. I've been seeing you win faceoffs forever. And I think a lot of people might look at it as like he's just doing the same thing over and over. He just keeps winning. But how have you developed and adapted? People might learn one of your moves. How have you continued to get better over the years?
Yeah, I think elevating my game outside of the faceoff has really helped me win faceoffs. So, running out ground balls, being able to just make plays in tight spaces.
You can finish the ball too.
Finishing the ball has helped. A lot of that was from Box, man. Like, Box has helped me so much with that. Like, all of a sudden, like, you get to the outdoor season, you're like, oh my God, I got the ocean to shoot at now. Like, the net is massive. The goal is not wearing anything. Like, what? Why did I think it was like? Why did I think there was nowhere to shoot before? Like, there is, But like, all those things have helped. And for me, like, a lot of it's. A coach told me this like when I was younger, maybe like high school, but he was like, amplify your strengths without letting your weaknesses be a liability. So, we all have our strengths on the field, whether that's, like I'm definitely like a stronger, powerful guy. I like to get the clamp, and that's my strength. So I'm always going to like amplify that. I'm going to do that as hard as I can to the highest possible ability. And, I have things that I'm not as good at, It's okay to be not as good at one thing as you are as your bread and butter until somebody exposes you for it, and then it's a liability. Once it's a liability, then you have to start practicing to be sufficient at it. So that's kind of how I look at things. So like, if I'm losing a ton of face-offs in one situation, then it's like, okay, like this is a viable weakness. It's a liability for me now. So I got to work on this. So I kind of.
Trev, I always said that, after every season. I'm sure Greg's like me with this. We're pretty hard on ourselves. I think every good pro should be if you stick around long enough. you go back every season, you take your little 2 weeks, whatever, you run to Vegas, whatever you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Then you come back, you look at yourself in the mirror, and you say, what am I fucking not good at? What can I get better at? Because that's a hard thing with ego, right? With ego in our game, a lot of guys don't want to change it up. They just want to be like, I was good at this, I'm good at this, and I'm still the best at this. So that little bit of looking at yourself, I tried to get better at. I did it definitely the last 5 years, just looking at myself like, listen, man, if they're going to shoot at your feet, you better make that a strength because it's just what they're going to do. I'm a bigger guy. So knowing that, when you go into your off season now, I'm sure you decompress somehow, which you're going indoor, outdoor, which is psychotic.
Yeah, it's
crazy,
absolutely.
Right? But the grind you go through. I mean, what's your off season look like when you kind of reboot yourself to get like you said, that juice to keep going to next year? What's that process in your head?
Yeah, I think it's definitely very healthy to take some time off. So especially when you're playing indoor and outdoor. So once the season ends, hopefully it ends in a championship. That's the goal. But taking a couple weeks off and just not even thinking about playing, and putting the stick down for a little bit, then I would say the biggest thing that's changed for me is before I would do that and not take care of my body at all. So although you are taking time away from the game, making sure it doesn't mean you got to work out extremely hard like you're in preseason, but just maintaining your mobility, conditioning, and strength. More maintaining, not meaning you have to get stronger or anything like that. So that's going to open the doors up to injuries, and unfortunately injuries sometimes still do happen, but it makes you a lot less likely. So it also kind of keeps you you focused in that standpoint. It's I'm just taking it easy right now, but I'm still committed. But I'm taking it easy, and then you can build up on that. And sometimes my trainer Pat, I remember at the end of the bubble, I had to get some procedures done on my shoulder and everything like that. But I was all right, I'm coming in. I'm coming in next week. We can just do legs. I'm fine. And he was no, you're not coming in. He didn't let me come in. And I I still thank him for it. I'm that was the best thing that could have happened because you can get burned out. You can get burned out.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Sometimes we really need somebody to save us from ourselves.
Right.
And our position is so filled with ego. We've experienced it as coaches where, a kid will commit to go to college. He's just a rising junior. And all of a sudden he's like, I'm done. I'm perfect. And I'm going to start giving face-off lessons and stop training now. And all of a sudden they get to college, they get their teeth kicked in. They wonder what happened. It's because they were I'm good enough. And I think, we talk about it all the time. Everybody wants to be the guy. Everybody wants to tell everybody they're the guy. But there's only one way to be the guy. And that means you have to be the guy all the time.
Right.
And being the guy doesn't mean you sit on top of the mountain. It means you dig and you make the mountain higher and you keep trying to climb. That's what's been so impressive with you is because it's expected of you and you keep over delivering. Not just as a face-off guy, but as a leader. Like we said, someone was asking, how did Trevor, why is he doing so bad? I'm you guys forget, man, this dude's in his prime.
Right.
He's just been a young buck. The same thing with Connor Farrell. Connor Farrell, he's not in his prime yet. He'll be in his prime eventually. He's still learning this thing.
Trev, how old are you? I forget how young you are sometimes because I've been around.
I just turned 26.
That's
26.
it.
Yeah.
You've been doing it for so long. People think you're a 29-year-old vet, bro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sometimes I turn around. I'm how long have I really been playing? I'm yeah. I've been doing this thing for a long time, but no, that's.
Well, let me ask you this, Trev. Because you didn't really start becoming a face-off guy until later, right?
Yeah.
When in high school were you because I remember you came to the first national showcase, but you weren't like a true face-off man at that point. I don't think.
Yeah. So honestly, I didn't. So technically, I didn't even go to the first one, but you guys invited me to the first one, and I couldn't go. And I couldn't go because I had a swim meet, man. I had a swim meet.
King tuna.
Yeah, man. And so probably, I regret that decision. I definitely should have went, but that's no here nor there at this point. But we, I started facing off. I technically started taking face-offs when I was a freshman in high school, and I did because we needed a backup face-off guy. So I was just kind of the guy that he was like, hey, like learn how to do it, because we had a starter who was really good, and he actually had some shoulder problems too. So he was kind of, our coach was like, he's playing, but like he might go down in a game, and we just need somebody out there to take face-offs, and so we have a chance. So I was like, all right, yeah, like I'll learn it. Like this seems fun, it seems cool. But it wasn't until my sophomore year that I actually took face-offs in the game, and it was because he got hurt, and I started taking face-offs in the game, and I didn't really know what I was doing. Like I was just kind of just doing it in practice. I was getting beat by the starter like consistently, but I was just like trying to learn. So I was like, all right, like when I go out there, like I'm not making a complete fool of myself. So then like my junior year, he graduated, and then I just started taking all the face-offs for the team. And then I was like, okay, it's time to get serious. Like if I'm doing this, I don't want to like suck, and I want our team to win. I want to get to the ball. So I started doing face-off academy. I started like really taking it seriously then. And then
yeah, and the reason I asked that, Trev, is because how much do you think starting later than the other kids helped you?
Oh, I think it helped tremendously.
Physically and not burning out.
I think it helped tremendously, like from the point of burning out, and also like I felt like being specialized at such a young age. Now remember too, like back then, kids were committing to college their freshman year of high school too. So,
yeah, right before it, the summer of eighth grade.
Yeah. So like our class, like sophomore year, most of the D1 schools, their classes were done. Like when we were sophomores, going in, like before even going into junior year. So I think it just opened up my perspective of there was something more that I could get better at and something more to work on, rather than be like, okay, even if I was like an X attackman, like, okay, I know everything there is to know about X attack. I committed to Hopkins in 8th grade, and like I just know everything. It was more of the game that I could learn and progress myself as a player, because I didn't even think I was going to go D1. I was like, I'm just going to just try to get better every day, and it was more about that and less about like going to see different colleges and going to be in front of colleges and doing a ton of tournaments. I was like, I just want to. There was Will Fox. Will Fox won the Face-Off Academy National Championship, or National Showcase the first year, and that guy was like always a guy. I was like, if I could like go 50% with Will Fox, like I'm like legit. Like I'm legit. And
Will was the
he
bar.
He was the bar in New Jersey, like in the nation, and obviously we were both in New Jersey. So I remember I played against him the summer going into my junior year, and he just dusted me, man. Oh my God, I couldn't buy a face-off win. It was so embarrassing. Smoked me. And then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to play this guy again in New Jersey. Like, I'm just going to work really hard. So, like, hopefully when we go against each other, I just don't get embarrassed. And that'll be a good mark for me. And then it was that next summer, we both tried out for Under Armour. And then I did great against him, and then ended up making the team. And I was like, like I can really do this. Like I can really face it. That was like the first time I was like, I can do this. I can do this at a high level. Yeah. Before that, I was like, I'm just taking it for the team, and I'm just trying to get us to win. I'm just gonna try my hardest to win.
I think that's such a great point too, Trevor, because, it shows, how hard you worked, how determined you were to, hone your craft. And it also shows, kids out there that there's a different path for everybody. You don't have to be the first round of commits. You don't have to be a 5-star recruit. And this conversation has been so great. I hate that we're coming up on time. Fellas, we got one more question for Trev before we let him go.
Yeah. I got a question for you. Who do you think you're going to face in the PLL championship game?
Ooh. This is tough. This is hard to like.
I got a safe bet for him.
I mean, I feel like if I was a betting man, I would say we're going against the Whips, because I just feel like they are just consistently in the championship.
It's a really smart way of thinking about it.
But the Chrome. They kind of like.
We said it. It seems. Stop.
Yeah, the Chromes kind of got something going on over there.
I know.
They do.
They got something going on over there. But yeah,
Yeah, listen, you can't dethrone the king yet, right? They do. The whips are always around. They're always there.
That's what I'm saying. They're always going to be around, and they just have that experience and that that postseason experience is the best way to put it. Like they know what you got to do to get there better than anyone else. Even when you're playing them head to head, it's like they know how to win the game. Not necessarily maybe they weren't the best team, the better team out there, but they know how to win. They know how to win.
I think before we let you go, I think that's a good thing. Last year was a great experience. I know that probably sucked, whatever, not going to the, winning a championship last year, but I think getting as far as y'all got and also having that belief, like, we're here, right? Like, we deserve to be in this upper echelon of the teams, and that's where we deserve to be. Once you get through that first mental block, you're there. Now you can focus on actually winning. So I'm looking forward to it, man. It's been a freaking pleasure to talk to you as usual. I would do this with you on the phone anyway. But, it's been a pleasure, and it's been actually really exciting to watch you evolve as a professional, but evolve as a leader, man. That's something I value very highly, and it's been awesome to watch you kind of develop, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Trev, you're my dude. You know that, man. Hopefully the hammy gets better. We'll see you back out there soon. But we're in your corner, dude. I love rooting for you.
Thanks for coming on, Trev. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Trev.
All right, everyone, welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed that interview with our bud, Trevor Baptiste. Right now, we're going to get into the Women's World Championship. This was a 10-day long tournament. It took place down in Baltimore, Maryland. Finished earlier this month. Our United States women's team won 11-8 over Canada in the championship game. Guys, you get a chance to check this out. What'd you guys think of it?
Yeah, I watched, every time these come around, I'm literally amazed at the preparation of Team USA and the dominance. The girl, we know a lot of them from working camps and stuff. I mean, dude, the amount of work they put in with the U.S. team, the national level, is insane. It's insane. I know Jay Dyer trains them. He's local here in Baltimore. I watch the girls go in and train in there. I mean, listen, there's a reason, right? There's a reason there's been this dominance. And I thought this year, 10 days is a long time. 10 days is a long tournament. You can have an off game for sure. Listen, we're human beings. There's been off games for all of us, but sometimes in that long stretch, you can definitely take an opponent lightly. I thought the Canadian women's team, I think they're there too. I think that was enjoyable to watch, man. It was it's competitive, and even England. I watched the English national team. I think they gave us an early game a bit, and then we pulled away at the end. But that's just saying a lot for the growth in that level of international, right? International is how you want to rank any sport, and I think that was to see the growth was my biggest take.
People forget women's pro lacrosse wasn't really around a few years ago, and this was the pinnacle of women's lacrosse, and they trained like that year round, very similar to women's soccer. And this is actually what the men's side is trying to duplicate, is having a training team and then making the tryouts a simpler version and having the kids come up through the ranks in the United States system. And it creates more camaraderie. And I am so enamored with the skill level and the dominance of our women's program. And all those women work so hard and tirelessly. Taylor Cummings, to me, is the absolute GOAT. I think
she's literally Captain America.
Yes.
To me.
And people will say, she's the best lacrosse player in women's lacrosse. She's the best lacrosse player. Okay. And I say that because on and off the field, forget the fact, 3-time Tewaaraton winner. Okay. She does everything out there. But now she's, at probably her last World Games and her last go around, she's just as dominant. She's a leader on and off the field. When you look at what she's done in the past few years, especially on social media, and hammering and trumpeting about women's lacrosse and how they need to get equity as far as viewership. If it wasn't for Taylor Cummings and women like her, those games would not have been seen by millions of people. And because of that, because of her tireless effort and the people that are involved in that, ESPN picked those games up, and thousands of little girls got to watch their heroes and who they want to play. And it did so much for the sport, not just in the United States, but in the world. And I can't even begin to tell you how impressive that is to me, while also being a dominant lacrosse player. What was obvious?
Oh, she's got double. I feel like she wears the weight of.
Oh yeah.
I'm the ambassador of this thing, right? And there's other greats like Alex Oss. Alex Oss is doing great things for the women.
What I always say is, Jerry and I deal with this with lacrosse with face-offs. We say a lot of people want to make money coaching face-offs, but very few people stick their neck out for the position like we do. And Taylor sticks her neck out constantly, and it's beautiful.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
She's a leader in every sense of the word. But what really jumped off the page for me is, unless you've been in one of those USA-Canada matchups, especially a gold medal game, I have chills talking about it, but it's there's nothing like that game. And what jumped out to me so much were two things, and I tweeted about it during the games. The speed of this team top to bottom was absolutely unfathomable. Everybody out there looked like they were running a 4.240 all the time. The second part of it is this team really liked each other. They loved each other. It was awesome to watch the pure joy of playing with each other out there. And if you're a fan of the creator's game, this was what it was all about.
Greg, yeah, I agree. And I think that comes from, and this was a year where they had a huge turnover.
Huge.
A lot of vets that, how you could play three of those things. And, they had a group. They had a core group, right? Liz Hogan has been to the tryouts, has gotten cut, and she made it this year. She freaking won a gold medal, man. That's listen.
Charlotte North's coming out party worldwide. It was awesome.
I was just going to say, how fun is it to see Charlotte North crank up from the 8 meter?
It is, dude. It is. But I always, and maybe this is the old guy in me. You got to look at who paved it, right? And it's you watch Taylor. She did pave it, right? But she's also ain't nobody on that team thinking I could take Taylor. So she's performing here. She's ambassading. She's leading. That's important stuff, dude. Right? That's why they're so good. Is they just have a core group of values. The coaches, they did a speech. One of the coaches, the head coach, gave a speech on how it's about the legacy, right? What others before you have built here, and the pride we take in this team. And those girls, there was a lot of young girls, man. There was a lot of 22, 23-year-old girls out of college. And guess what? It takes a lot to lead a group like that. It's like having stray cats, man. When I used to get rookies in, how do you herd cats? You can't, right? So you got to go by, I don't want to let this person down. That's our leader, Taylor, right? You got other vets on that team. And then you got this young talent that is just coming in, and they just crush it, dude.
Dude, and another person, too, Kayla Trainer. Just
imagine
being a Syracuse
Kayla's
player,
one of the best.
And you're watching your head coach torch the world. And it was just that team, man. I love that. I love those players.
Yeah, they're fun.
And I just fun. If they're listening to this, I'm the biggest fan. I just love the way you guys do it. I'm so happy for all of you. So congratulations on that gold medal.
Congrats, ladies. Yeah, that was awesome. That was great.
Always good seeing the red, white, and blue bring home a gold medal. Yes, congratulations to those girls. Keep the momentum going. They're always training hard. They're always staying in shape. They're always ready to play and win and compete at the highest level. It's so fun to see. We're gonna switch gears a little bit. We're gonna still stay on kind of the national lacrosse, but we're gonna switch gears into sixes. For those of you who don't know, it's new to me. I don't know, it's new to you guys. It seems like it kind of came out of nowhere, but this style of lacrosse where it's almost, in my mind, a mesh between box and field and a little bit of West Jenny, and it's fun to watch, and it's definitely interesting and fun, and it's definitely something new. I'm wondering, what do you guys think? What do you guys like that you saw in this sixes tournament?
Well,
Danny, you got it, Greg.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people are confused by sixes, and obviously lacrosse Twitter loves eating each other's faces over everything. Sixes was brought upon for a couple of reasons. One, world lacrosse, U.S. lacrosse, they definitely want lacrosse in the Olympics. You cannot have lacrosse in the Olympics with the size of teams that we have now, and you can't have it in lacrosse in the Olympics with the massive lopsided competitiveness that's going on, right? It's generally right now, until all is said, it's us in Canada in almost every single gold medal game. So how can the world be competitive, and how can they keep the cost down for the size of the rosters? So they created this sixes version. It gets lacrosse on television. It's quick. It's fast. The games are quick. And asking, Ireland to field a team of 6 is a lot easier than asking them to field a field of 23. And right. I'm all for lacrosse. And people are like, oh, you hate sixes because you don't take any face-offs. I'm like, I
hate sixes.
I think sixes is a lot of fun. I think it's a completely different style. I also think it opens it up for the rest of the world to watch. And if it gets in the Olympics, phenomenal. But what people have to understand is it's not replacing anything. There's sevens rugby. There's all kinds. There's beach volleyball. There's regular volleyball. This is just a different version. There's already box lacrosse and field lacrosse. So having this other version that might make it to the Olympics one day, I think is awesome. And you can tell already, when we're going to talk about it in a second, the competitive advantage that USA has, lopsided wise, is not there. So I think people are already going to be like, yes, I'm interested. I'm interested in that.
And Danny, it's interesting. And why I said hate, listen, if you're a goalie and you're playing sixes, you are my hero, because I ain't stepping in there to see 65 to 80 shots a game at 8 to 5 yard range. I'm good. But guess what? I also love having a guy like Tucker Durkin in front of me with a 6-foot pole that's making sure he's locking down his matchup. Now, it's fast. It's fun. And those are the 2 F words I would use here that are good for the air. But here's the deal. It's fast and fun. And right now, I would like to see our national team outdoor. Those guys, we don't need 2 different teams. We don't need, because guess what? It's an A and a B team. And that's just what it is. You can yell at me, Twitter warriors, whatever you want. It's an A and a B team.
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want. You ain't going to do nothing. All right? But the A team, you've seen our national team, dude. Like, it ain't about, it's about skill. If you had Holman and Manny running around out there with their connection, it's just a different animal, dude. Yeah. And like I said, I think we'll get there. I think this is like the exploratory phase. One team would be my thing. That's our national team. They can play both. They're in shape. We have D-middies. We have all that stuff. They can play.
But I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the angle behind it is right. We're training these guys who are still going to be able to play when it does get to the point of the Olympics. So they wanted to go for more, like there was a couple college guys that were playing. But I think selecting the team in general is really interesting, because you don't want to just select a certain type of player. They really need to be like a 5-tool player, like giving a baseball analogy, or like someone that is going to be able to get up and score, but also get back and play defense.
Play defense.
Yeah.
When I was watching Gitz play defense, I mean, Gitz was playing. Gitz is an athlete. Right, Gittleman's an athlete. He's playing. I saw him lock down someone on defense.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I don't think that's his job. I'm sure he loves. I know Gitz. He loves lax. He's a lax rat. On a national level, I don't know if he wants to be out there doing that.
Yeah,
under those circumstances.
Gitz loves that shit.
Yeah, he's a freaking maniac. He's a maniac.
I think it's a good thing to have. I think it's going to catch on. I think a lot more. It's going to get more kids with the sticks in their hands. I think it'll help the sport overall, but it's not replacing field. And I think, if there was a tweak, I would say, maybe make the goals a little smaller and give the goalies more pads or something. That would probably be the
5x5.
Yeah, whatever. If you're going to basically box lacrosse outside, so you might as well make it a little bit more like box lacrosse. But yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's a good sport.
But Danny, going off of what I know exactly what you're going to segment into here. That game, right? The matchup.
What do we think? Are we surprised with the result?
I'm not. Me and Greg were texting. Dude, that's what they do. That's literally
that's more their sport.
That's more. They literally went from indoor into that, and they're like, "Yo, look, check this out.
Yeah,
the net 6x6. Like, that's crazy, dude. Like, that's a crazy concept for those guys that pick corners on a 4x4 to go out there in that distance and do what they do. And their skill level is going to allow that to keep happening. Now, did I think we would exploit that? To Canada's defense, their defense has gotten a lot better. I mean, the way they're playing one-on-one, short stick defense, that was a little different than they used to. And that's where you would circle it if you could say we're in this game. I knew Canada was going to pump goals. I knew they were going to pump goals because that's what they do on that level. But on the other end, Dobson, that kid's legit, dude. I mean, he played at St. Bonaventure. You got to love that story. And he's out there, and he's a rookie, and he's playing against the guy that starts over him in outdoor. So it's freaking wild. That's the circumstance in the middle of the season. But now they know, at least the Archers know. Listen, something happens to Gitz. That kid's ready to step in right now. There's no rookie. There's no rookie there. Yeah.
No, I agree. And I think the game itself and the way that Canada was prepared for sixes, they run that box-style offense. And then you mentioned, dudes like Jalen Rogers plays defense in box. He comes into the PLL, and he's, pumping 4 points a game from the midfield. So the NLL is so uber skilled where to be a true offensive player, you need to, have the out of this world stick skills. And if you don't, you're getting your ass back and playing defense. And I think that's why a lot of people didn't expect Canada to be so good at defense, and they shut up a lot of haters. I know we love talking about the Twitter threads, who's going to stop so-and-so, who's going to stop XYZ, and they shut them up. And I know a lot of those guys are having fun with it too afterwards.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah, listen, it's also that game, like we said, there's going to be that competitiveness now for the preparation for the next. It's going to be a little intense. I think the USA sometimes it's good when you're the king for a while and you're at the top and you get fat and happy, you forget sometimes what it's like to hunt for that spot, So these guys come in, they got their butts beat up a little bit. Now it's like maybe we could change a couple things. Maybe we could do a little more. Yeah, right.
I think that's important going forward. Experiment, because this is very much their domain, and they came into the capital and mecca of lacrosse in this country, Birmingham, Alabama.
I mean, I can tell you,
you're growing the game.
July in Alabama.
I'd rather drink fish tank water than play lacrosse.
100%, dude.
In Alabama.
I actually do drink pickle juice and fish tank water.
All right, let's move on quickly before Scotty gets too deep into that.
All right, let's roll.
I have one question for you guys closing in on the Sixes, though. I know, Greg, you're all for it. I love your positivity about it. It's not.
This is so good. This is so progressive. I'm so proud of him.
No, I like it. I mean, I think it's a way to get lacrosse into the Olympics, and I think that it's serving that purpose. And I agree with that. And I like your mindset on it, Scotty. We're gonna get you to come around to it. But this question is most for Scotty.
Coming from an offensive player.
If the United States sent their A team, is the score the same in the championship game? Is Canada still winning the championship game, or is USA bringing that home?
I think, listen, you take those polls out. We have great polls. We have great defenders. And I'm telling you, man, he knows Tucker. He knows these guys that are these guys are good, man. And you take that out, that's a neutralizer. I don't care how good your goaltending is, because goaltending, one hand feeds the other. And then the face-off piece of it is we have a dominant edge there, too. I mean, Jake Withers, there's guys coming, right? They've been on there.
Yeah. But until proven otherwise, Trevor's Trevor.
And then if it ain't Trevor, we have 2 or 3 guys that are ready to roll too. Yeah. So I mean, I just think those equalizers that we have a run into are going to keep that going to be. It might be one way for a little bit in that domain, just because they're so good in that tight area, that tight spot, and their stick work is impeccable. It's what they do all winter. And I don't even think it was all of our box guys. It was a lot of box guys that we have, but we have guys that were playing that could definitely play in that. It's in the middle of box and field. I think it's a hybrid. I honestly think that a Holman, a Manny, those guys pop, shoot quick release. That's right up their alley, dude.
But they're going to get back and play defense or just run right off the field.
I mean, I've watched Marcus attempt to. I don't know if it's great. He'll definitely hustle. He'll hustle back.
But so you just walked around the question. Would USA's A team have won or would have been a closer game?
I think it would be a close game. I don't think we win.
Okay.
Without the face-off component and without the long poles out there.
Yes, we're playing.
You agree with that, Greg?
Yes, we're playing sixes. That's what he's asking. Yeah, I don't think it wouldn't have mattered who we put out there. I think we're in we're in their realm. So, yeah.
But
For now,
Danny, the good thing is
just like Canada got way better at field over the years.
right. It pushes us.
I mean, America's gotten way better at box because we play it more now. You know.
And
I mean, we used to go
adding more teams is getting more Americans in the mix.
Yeah,
totally.
I mean, every club program in this country right now is also doing box during the winter.
Box.
So,
I mean, Anthony Kelly, Resolute does a great job out in Ohio. They run that
fusion.
I mean,
yeah.
But Danny, going back to what you said, I think this just has to be like a thing where I don't want to say we don't take it seriously because that's doing disjustice to professional.
We just aren't good. We're not good at it yet. It's all good. We're not that good at it yet.
That's
all.
And I know they had the training camp up in Placid last summer where they're doing stuff. They're developing, they're trying to, but I guess what the takeaway is not there yet.
Not there yet.
All right. That's our take on the Sixes. We got Greg. We love it. Scotty, we're going to get him there. We're going to get him to buy in.
I'll come around. I'll probably get a text. I'll get a text from US Lacrosse.
And you know what? If you don't,
I'll come around quick.
But yeah, guys, moving on. We got a big week of PLL. It's coming back. It's coming to Fairfield, Connecticut, a new location this year. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that stadium in Fairfield. It's fairly new. It got put in, I think, while I was in college, but it's a great size. It's going to be a great atmosphere for the PLL. We got some good games this weekend.
You know what else? It's going to be nuclear hot.
How hot? I'm not a weatherman.
I just say nuclear.
I don't have the app going.
Yeah, that's how you say it, right?
Hey, guys, I have so before we get on this really quick, I was thinking about it for the fans. I think we have a nice bet for our pick'ems for the champions because I was really hot after Danny went with the Chrome, and we have to have repercussions for such things. Okay, so my thing, I get my eyebrows threaded. I know they're perfect. I get it, but I think the losers getting the thread job, and I already do it, so I'll do something else. But between you two, if one of you lose, your eyebrows are getting threaded, and I want that to go down, please.
What is? I don't even know what that is. Is that?
We just get shaped up. Give you
okay. I thought you were talking about a dash in there.
It hurts. It's painful. I cry. I would like you guys to experience that at a high level.
Why doesn't whoever's team won get to pick the punishment?
Well, we have to have it agreed upon.
And I'm when the Chrome win, you guys are getting your butts waxed.
Done. All right, let's go.
Okay, you know what? I'm pretty high on the Atlas right now. I'll be honest, man. I'm good with it. I'm taking it. Dad, you want your virtual handshake? You got it.
All right. Whoever's team wins gets to pick the punishment.
All right. Done. All right. Let's move on.
I think that's another thing people should put in the comments what the punishment should be. We'll take it over. We'll have some kind of agreed upon.
Don't give this stability, this power to a 12 to 15-year-old kid that wants me to look ridiculous.
Scotty, I don't know how to tell you this. You already look ridiculous. You wore the hat 2 weeks in a row. It's unbelievable.
All right, so fellas, first game of the week, we got Redwoods versus Atlas. We talked about last week. We said it, the Redwoods need to wake up. This is a perfect opportunity for them to right the ship. What are you guys seeing in this game?
Dude, we don't know if Trevor's good to go or not. Trevor plays in this game, Atlas. If Trevor doesn't play in this game, Atlas. And here's what I'm telling you this. There is a young man named Jake Faulk. If he comes in and plays, he might not be Trevor dominant, but I have a lot of faith that Jake Faulk is going to go out and do a good job. And if he does, he's going to be starting for another team very quickly because it's an audition for him. So I think if all things are even, the Atlas win this game. And
I go into the mental piece of this, and I was discussing this with Burnlow earlier. And he was saying, well, in defense, they haven't beat us. Like they really haven't beat them, the Whip Snakes, like much in the year. The league's been
What
around
about
for
the
how
Atlas
long?
versus the Redwoods, bud?
I'm just, the Redwoods are done. Yeah, I'm sorry. The Redwoods are, I don't see that being no.
You good, man?
You going Atlas? You sticking with
Yeah,
the gun?
Atlas.
I'm telling you guys what.
Sorry, guys.
Redwoods are winning this game. There's no doubt in my mind.
Okay.
Redwoods are winning this game. You think Cornell's going to come out here and let his team lose? After, they've been so close to righting the ship. They just got some rest, week off. I think they're coming ready to play.
Hey,
I'm
The
taking
only,
Redwoods.
I would
the
love
only way
that.
I
I would
say
love that.
the only way I say that is the mental rest. Yes, you clear your head a little bit. Robbie P is probably dialed. Miles had a good. I know the All-Star game doesn't mean much, but even putting a couple twos in, you get a little jive to it, right?
That
Like,
was a
Miles
mostly
get a-
Atlas All-Star team that just ran roughshod all over everybody in that game. Like I just feel like they're just feeling themselves. If they get 50% of the faceoffs in this game, then I feel like they win.
But that's going to be a tough task.
I don't think it will be. If Trevor's 100%, I think all good for Trevor.
What happened to all the TD hype, though?
Right.
I mean,
That's where I'm
still
going.
TD.
That's where I'm going with that. That I said if Foss is
You
playing,
guys,
right? Foss?
hype is fine. Hype is fine, but hype doesn't win games. And remember what I was talking about. And this isn't, we're not knocking TD on this, but
No, yeah.
this pro lacrosse thing is way different than college, where you have faster clamps so you win. You come in your rookie year, and it's happened in pro lacrosse all the time. A guy catches on with the cadence, and he's good, and he's throwing stuff at guys they haven't seen before, and then they catch on to what he's doing. And
Right.
that's what I said is you learn everything you need to know about a pro by the second year they're in there. Have you gotten better? It doesn't look like TD's added anything to his game. And then the second thing is like, are you a student of this? Are you starting to expose the weaknesses of your opponents? Because you see the same guys 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened yet. Now, they're like in the bottom 4 of the league in faceoff percentage.
Agreed. Stats.
And
hey,
we're talking
numbers
about a
don't lie.
Redwoods team that was used to last year, 2019, used to being up there and used to getting their possessions, and they're not. The question is, are they getting used to that so they can become more efficient? I don't know if their offense as a whole is efficient enough to not have the ball 60 times off the faceoff.
But I know we're getting tight on time, but I got to ask this question to you guys. They've rebooted the thing. I'm not a Redwoods hater. I like the Redwoods. I think the talent is off the charts. They rebooted the thing, right? And offensively, it hasn't changed. Like, you get a little youth, you get some shooters, you get whatever you think you needed, you got. So what's the problem?
I think they're
right?
missing Scotty. I think they're missing a guy who can just beat his man from the midfield, who can just flat out cause rotation and cause a slide out of the midfield to free up Perk and free up Miles for the step downs or the hitch. I just don't.
Do you think?
Look, I heard that they traded for Sergio Salcido because they're looking for a guy who can do that. If Salcido could come down and do that, that'd be amazing.
Dude, he could. So did he play there yet? Yeah, he did, right? Sometimes those are bittersweet. Sometimes those are fresh. Those are fresh and nice, and we start fresh.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
In our league, if you get another chance, you take it.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll see. That'll be a nice change up. What's the next matchup, Danny?
next matchup, we have Whip Snakes versus Chaos. Chaos, another team that, they're looking for their identity a little bit. They have their guys back. They have their identity. They have their identity back. But they just need to start winning. What do we think in this one,
Dude,
guys?
I love that game so much. Every time I circle it. Dude, that is like, I know Blaze gets a little juiced up because he's playing his best friend, Rambo. And nobody wants to get scored on by your best friend. Blaze got his last game was, he's coming off of just being a brick wall in the All-Star game and then coming off a 20-save game. So if you look at trends, how he's getting back into his form, it's going to be a tough day to shoot on him. I'm telling you right now. But there's always something, dude, like we always talk about, the Whip Snakes. Like they just, there's like this intimidation, mental. They just know how to win, dude.
Dude, they all know each other. They all play with each other. They all trust each other. Stags runs a tight ship. I think they're going to have a significant face-off advantage because of the style matchup. I think, Nardella's, he's going to, ball's going to pop out. He's going to grab. He's going to claw. He's going to get his one-handed scoop and kind of run through stuff. And that's what he always does against the Chaos. And even though, they're probably going to have TK start, his hand speed's awesome, but he always has trouble with the exits. So they're going to get it. They're going to get a possession advantage unless something crazy happens. And then if there's any goalie in the league that I trust to get hot and go toe-to-toe with Blaze, it's Bernlohr. And
it's
I
Kyle.
think
it's Kyle.
I
mean, Kyle is one of the most competitive guys I know. I played with him in Ohio for years. I'm telling you right now, even an All-Star game that needs nothing, that dude, he's the most competitive dude I know. He's going to come out and show up. He's going to show up. So like I said,
whips.
Yeah, I'm going whips.
Yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I think it's whips. I think it's whips. I think it's whips with a 24 save game by Blaze.
I think
so what's that
that's the
for,
last one the Chaos lose for a while. I think they lose this game and then they get hot.
They go hot. But will it be too late? That's the question.
Maybe.
All right. Well, we're all on the same page here. Whips. Moving on to the next matchup, we have the Cannons versus the Archers. The Archers, we've been gassing up Will. We've been gassing up Holman. I saw on Instagram the other day, Grant Ament has his cleats back on. Looks like he's getting ready to come back. I don't know if he's playing or not, but what do we have here? Cannons are looking for a win. Archers, they're looking to hit stride. They look good. What do we got?
I go back to what we talked about last week. I think Grant comes in there. It might throw off the mojo. I'm going to stick by that until it proves me wrong. As a talent, Grant is first class, the best. But those guys learned how to win without him. And they learned how to do it, and now they throw him in there. It's a little different. So, but also you got a Cannons team. Lyle's coming off a fresh week. He's coming off fresh. When he gets rested, his body's good. He is a special, special dude, man. They ain't much better than him. So I have the Cannons in an upset.
I think the Cannons will have a possession advantage. And I think that this is just the right game for them to shock some people and win. I could see the Cannons being 500 at some point in the next few weeks.
Agreed.
I'm going Archers.
I know you are.
Until this Cannons team shows me that they want to play ball with the big boys,
I know.
I'm going to go against them.
I get that.
I know we had our boy Asher on last week. He looks awesome. I'm pumped to see him having success, but they have the pieces. They haven't been able to put it together yet. And until they do that, I'm not going to put my money
I don't know. Danny, I'm with you on that. I just don't know. Is it a midfield presence? Is it they're missing a dude? I think they're missing a dude or two. To be honest, on the midfield, I think their attack's set for the next couple of years, and that chemistry is just going to get better. But right now, but like I said, a hungry dog, a hungry, starving dog. I'm telling you, man, there's something about that, and this league has seen crazier stuff. So I'm going to stick with it.
I like it. All right, interesting to see that happen. I think that could be, have the potential. Besides, that Whip Snakes game, I think this has the potential to be one of probably the closer games of the weekend, one of the maybe more fun games of the weekend to watch. So definitely tune into that. And rounding out the weekend, we have the Chrome versus the Water Dogs. My Chrome versus the Water Dogs. What do we like here, guys?
I think you're looking at two of the most exciting young teams in the league. I honestly think they're the Water Dogs are, like we talked about, dude. They're actually, the record's sneaky, right? They're going to be fine. And they actually know how to win because they won last year. Am I dodging this question? A little bit, because I think it's the toss-up. But the Chrome, Greg knows the possession game better than anyone in the world. I do not. I know what I'm looking at as the intangibles, which is the goaltending. If Dylan's back and he's healthy, they're always in it. So I think I have the Chrome. It'll like a 1-goal win. But I think it's going to be a game. I think Brownie's going to get a couple twos. I think it's going to be exciting stuff. I think Sowers is starting to find that I could do this all the time feeling. Not just like I'm occasionally going to smoke my guy. I can smoke my guy every time. And I think he can. So I just think it's going to be a tight one. But I got the Chrome.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do because last time that they had a lot of success against the Chrome, Jake Withers last year put Connor in a basket because a very different style of face-off guy than Tucci is. But Tucci has been very impressive. He's like third or fourth in the league in face-off percentage as a rookie. So, I'm going to be interested to see what that is, what that looks like. But until proven otherwise, I have to go with the Chrome. I think they got something going on there. Even Trev was saying, he's like, there's something going on over there. And people
have they played yet, Greg?
Huh?
Have they played each other yet?
The Chrome and the Atlas?
No, the Chrome and the Water Dog.
Yeah. This is now, back end of the season, they're going to be playing everybody again.
So is that my question to you? Is that freshness of Connor not? You know how we talked about how face-off guys see each other over and over again and sometimes years?
Yeah.
Is that fixable in 2 weeks to switch that after facing him?
Yeah, I think it actually bodes well for Tucci because Tucci is having success as a rookie, and that's already super impressive because we've said before it's almost impossible as a rookie in this league with the way they call it. But the question is does he have the size and strength to
he's a brute,
and I think the tough thing that a lot of rookies have when they come into a pros league is you're not good at counters. Because usually you're not good at counters because you have elite hand speed. That's how you became an All-American in college. So usually the best guys on, hand speed wise suck at counters. I think Tucci has to add that. That's what Nardella did. Nardella added that over his career, which made him a formidable guy. When he relied on his hand speed early, he wasn't a hand speed face-off guy. Now, when you go against Joe that if you win the clamp, it doesn't mean anything. You have to make sure that ball's in the exact spot it needs to be. So
you have to exit.
I think Tucci adds that to his game, and he can beat anybody. But I don't know if he's there yet.
I think going off of that real quick, I just think grinding Connor out. Right, Connor's a big boy, bro. There's no way around it. It is what
You're
it
not
is.
going to grind Connor out, man. The guy is in phenomenal shape. Like I know he's a bigger guy, but he's not a big, slow guy.
No, I know.
BJJ in his all time. Like
I'm saying, Greggy, the chasing, like not grind him out, but you lose a face off.
If there's a weakness to Connor Farrell,
you lose the face off.
He wins the face off, and you can definitely hawk him down and make him turn it over, and he still has to work on that. But yeah, I agree with you because Tucci is phenomenal with the ball. So yeah, it'll be interesting. But I mean, I have to go Chrome until I'm proven otherwise. I don't care who they're playing.
Can't believe we're taking Danny's guys, man.
Last time they played, it was 17-14 Chrome, so definitely a higher scoring game. It's kind of when DeLuca was a little bit in his cold streak. We'll see if Dylan's in the cage. But obviously, I'm going with the Chrome. They're my Island of Misfit toys. They're having fun. PLL is going to start printing shirts, Island of Misfit toys. Just make sure I'm getting the royalties on it.
Sure they will.
Give Paul my number.
I'm sure they will.
But I love it. They're so fun to watch. They have all these fun-loving guys. It looks like they're out there playing summer ball on a Tuesday night, slinging the pill around. They don't care. They turn it over. They get back in the hole. They say we're going to play defense for our old guys and get them the ball back. Watch them play. I'm definitely going to tune into this one. They're so much fun to watch for me.
Awesome.
All right, fellas. I love those picks. We'll make sure we tally those up. See who had the best record from this weekend. But yeah, everyone, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to this podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to TorchPro's YouTube channel so you can see all of our pretty faces. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you next week.
To the moon.